Hey there, my name is Anthony Romano, and I'm going to tell you in this video about how to assess if you should bulk or cut. The whole gist of this video is because when you get lean, you're going to look bigger than when you're skinny fat, okay? When you are at that point of body fat percentage where you simply aren't massive and bulky, but you're also not ripped, you're kind of at this no man's land where you're not going to look impressive either way. And if you're at a point where you're maybe 10 pounds away from getting that true rippedness to your physique, sometimes it's probably worth you making the cut first before you start to add lean muscle. And sometimes if you're too far gone and you're past that point of no return, you should just keep bulking because it's not going to be worth you cutting. You're simply just going to look smaller and not actually have the benefits of looking lean. So, why? Why do you look bigger when you're more cut? Why do you look bigger when you're more ripped? There's a couple reasons. Some of them are already readily apparent from looking, but I'll even throw a picture up here of myself when I wasn't completely done my cut this year, but then I have one where I'm towards the point where I'm just pushing for extra ripness, okay? So basically, for all conversation's sake, done and not done is going to be shown in this picture. And you can see that even though it's a subtle difference, I do look physically bigger in the picture where I'm leaner. Why is that? Well, of course, the primary thing is your waist to shoulder ratio. This is important. A lot of bodybuilders talk about this. I've talked about in other videos. Waist to shoulder ratio is the biggest key in what actually triggers in people's minds the effect of somebody looking big, okay? A man, okay? Same with women, but it's a little bit different. So, your waist to shoulder ratio is more optimized when you are leaner. Your shoulders look bigger because in comparison to your waist, you are carrying less fat around your lower midsection, which gives the illusion that you're a bigger person, okay? That's the first thing. Besides the added benefit that less fat around your shoulders gives them more of a rounded look. And there also may be more striations you have, on the shoulder type thing, depending on the angle, right? So essentially, depending on the lighting, you could have more lines on your upper chest, shoulder area. Of course, the angles are relatively similar in this picture. I also was fasted completely for 2 days maybe in the smaller picture. I was fasted for 2 days, was retaining a lot less water. So I had gone basically very similar fasting protocol, maybe 1 day fast at the time, on the leaner picture. And basically, even if you're at a lower point of water retention, it's going to look better, and any water retention is going to look better when you're leaner, because since your muscle bellies are popping so much more, you don't necessarily need as much water retention to fill out. But when you do get it, you're going to look gnarly. And when that's compared to the skinny fat area, or the part where you're, maybe not even as lean as I was in the pre-finished picture, right? Maybe if you're not even as lean as I was at that point, maybe around 11% body fat, you're not going to fill out as much because the water you're retaining isn't able to show off any of your cuts, okay? It's not able to show off any of your muscle separation. So basically, the layer of fat you have over top is kind of blocking any muscle popping effect you could get from being in the shape you're in. You'd have to cut down and lose that layer of fat in order to reveal it and give off that effect. There's also the shrink wrap effect, okay? This is something a couple people talk about on YouTube, but basically, once you get leaner and you get to a point where you've held a sub 10% body fat percentage for longer than maybe a month or a couple weeks, your skin will almost adapt a little bit. And as long as you're not jacking up the water retention, which would be through mainly carbohydrates and sodium electrolytes, but you're going to need one or the other. As long as you're not jacking that up through the roof and bloating yourself every day, which would be very hard to do, your skin should tighten up. And that's good. Your body will adapt to this, which will come out as essentially you have more of a tight look to your skin and your midsection, your upper body as well. So there's a shrink wrap effect. Of course, you can amplify once your skin is tighter as well. Adding in water retention through carbohydrates or electrolytes, sodium, potassium, are going to make you fill out more. And of course, you can get a nice pump in the gym. But overall, ripped guys look bigger than perhaps guys who are bigger than them, but just aren't as lean, right? So it's about the illusion, of course. If you watch any other classic bodybuilder, like Frank Zane, for example, stresses the importance of the illusion. It's the proportions between your shoulders, your waist, your legs, your arms. And a little tangent here, Steve Reeves, the classic bodybuilder, is used as a reference point for how big your arms should be in proportion to your calves and your neck. They should all be the same. And then your thighs should be a certain percentage bigger than your waist in order to give more of that look of how angular and how proportional your body looks. And the leaner you get is the simple answer to say that's one way to optimize the proportions between your body parts. Beyond that, there are of course some tips you can use to lose more fat. You can watch my other videos on this. You could watch my videos on bulking up, leaning down, anything you like. Leave me comments. But beyond that, this is just my personal experience with how much bigger you look when you're cut compared to when you're kind of cut, when you're skinny fat, right? When you think you can see the muscle bellies showing a bit, you can see the separation, but you're not quite there. Because a lot of times people get to a point when they're cutting where they get to the level that I'm in this picture. They get to the level that's like close to 10% body fat. And they're like, okay, cool, I can see my abs a bit now. Good to stop. But you don't quite know how much better you could look if you just push that last 10 pounds. There's basically a 10-pound difference almost between these two pictures. Basically 175 versus 185 or somewhere around there, that range. And that's essentially, of course you have water weight as well. And both of these were kind of fasted, except one, the smaller one has an extra day of fasting in there. But at the same time, the takeaway is you could be at that point where you're either too far gone and you should just go back to bulking, or perhaps you should push it and really lose those last 10 pounds. Hopefully this gave you some insight on whether you should bulk or cut, depending on how realistic it is for you to pull off that muscle popping effect from the last 10 pounds. Once again, Anthony Romano, peace.